spent the last 10 years helping organisations around the world drive innovation, and to answer this question, are you tapping or capturing your people's talent? And I've got let me pose a question to you. So, imagine all the people in your organisation now, and they're all in a big long line, and you have to come up with a new product or a new service, or you need to improve what you're doing. It might be in your charity or your social enterprise or whatever. Now, all those people you work with, how many of them would you invite to that brainstorming session you're about to have? Roughly. I've asked this question tons and tons of companies. In fact, what ends up happening is every time people say, well, actually, it'd be him over there and her over there and this guy over here. And what we see is that actually most organisations and most people tend to see that tend to have recognised creatives in their organisations. They're the go-to guys or the go-to girls for new ideas, brainstorming. These are the people that are going to help solve your problems, right? This is quite common. I'm seeing nodding. That's good. My issue is how do we tag creatives to drive innovation? By innovation, what I mean is a process. It's not an outcome, it's not a thing, it's a process. It's generating ideas and then developing those ideas, choosing the good ones, chucking out the rest, and then exploiting them or making them valuable. And that tends to fall into two camps. It's about either making your customers happier or your people happier, or it's about saving money or making more money or helping your money go further. Right? So it kind of falls into two camps, happy people or cash. How can we drive value from the full innovation playing field? Remember that most organisations are only pretty good at the kind of incremental stuff. So, a few years back, 10 years ago now, this is the question I was asking companies all around Europe and Israel. And every time I ask this question, business leaders everywhere said, we need to get more creative. It's about being creative. So, of course, I listened. I would pay my bills, right? And so I went off and got trained in all kinds of creativity techniques and out-the-box thinking techniques. And I travelled the world learning as much as I could about creativity. And it ranged from things, real deep dive data analyses and really reductionist thinking, the theory of inventive problem solving from Russia, for example. There are 36 contradictions that you must solve in doing that. I won't bore you, but it's really reductive, but really useful. And at the other extreme of that, I also did the really wildly creative stuff, like Native American Indian medicine walking, meditating in the trees on a concept, and rolling around in mud. And from the wildly wacky through to the really the deeply reductionist, what I did was I took those concepts and kind of distilled the best stuff and then brought all our creatives together and started bringing those processes to solve business problems, to come up with new solutions, come up with new products and services. So what was the outcome? I ran these things everywhere. Israel, France, Sweden, Germany, the UK, Australia, loads in Australia. And every time I did this, the creatives at the end of the session would always say, we've got genuine breakthrough here. And it was wonderful, that kind of feeling when you get that, we're onto something here, this is brilliant. And it was genuinely, the group would say, this is going to drive something amazing. And of course the next step then is to find a senior sponsor who's going to help you take this into the business, and we do that and they get excited. And then every single time I did that, we got this from the rest of the business. Yeah? Does that kind of sound familiar? Done this before, didn't work. Or I had that idea but no one would listen. And it was I got to a point where I just got, look, I'm sick of this. This is what either I'm doing something wrong, or we're looking at the problem the wrong way around. And what I realised was that actually, these aren't just your creatives. I'm trying to make your creative, or I was trying to make creatives more creative. Instead of saying, what other ideas are out there? How can we tap that latent creativity in the rest of your organisation and your network? So that was, instead of trying to get more creative, I thought, how can we open it up? And so that's when we started playing with digital tools and creating simple websites. And we started asking questions to whole organisations, such as, how can we improve the productivity of our people? Or one of the best questions is, how can we reduce costs without losing headcount? You're going to get engagement with a question like that, right? And what we saw was that when people make contributions onto these little digital tools, and the contribution could be an idea, or a promote, or a demote, or you can comment and build upon an idea, what we found was that we got a power law curve formed, or a long tail curve. And what we see here is that some people gave loads of contributions, and right at the other end, there was barely, some people just didn't get engaged. And you kind of expect that in social systems. What was really interesting was that actually it was the standard creatives, the 20% of the organisation that we worked with, who gave 80% of the contributions, and the not traditionally silent 80% only gave 20% of the contributions. And at first we thought, okay, was this really worth it? Apart from the fact these digital tools could be run more quickly, they could engage people wherever they are, geographically dispersed people, time-constrained people can get engaged at any time they want. You don't have to run a workshop and everyone has to be there being wacky and creative. What we're saying is, if you've got ideas, if you've got thought, get involved, and people did. Now, what's crazy about this, though, is that when we started saying, what are the best ideas, which ideas have been pushed to the top, which ideas are we now going to implement, and every single time we do this, we see a really, really interesting pattern. What we see is that your creatives generate half of your organisation's best ideas, but your silent majority develops the other half. The silent majority that often doesn't get invited to the brainstorming session. The silent majority that's often made up of people who are younger, or the old dude who does the accounts, who's blatantly not very creative, but actually has all these ideas trapped inside him. The new person in the organisation that has no internal network, the guys and girls who might not necessarily fit in because they don't enjoy the same social things that others do. Actually, that silent majority is brimming with fabulous stuff. I could go on, I shan't. What I want to leave you with is this. Are you genuinely listening to the people in your organisations? Are you genuinely listening to the people in your networks? My guess is, if you're not yet, this kind of evidence might make you think that you might want to start doing that. There's no shortage of amazing ideas out there that can help you solve your business challenges, that can help you solve your charities challenges. What there's often a shortage of is process to bring that out of people. So my idea that I would like you to spread is listen to your people, look at your great ideas, empower them, help them participate, help them feel belonging, and give them the choice to get involved, and they will help you solve your problems. Thank you.